think. It is once again that time to open the floodgates and see what maintenance may be in order as we prepare for Continental Classic season and the World's End as AEW kicks it into full gear. Welcome to the discussion. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Simple Friday Night Discussion on Simply Predicting. It is simple and reliable, as are we. Thank you for tuning in. You know what this is. For I am the Simple Man Noah Foster with the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams, the original two that literally started this whole thing together in the first place, including the Simple Take. So you got an OG panel tonight. This is just him and I. So we hope that you enjoy. Again, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. If you want your predictions also mentioned, please allow yourselves to be part of the conversation as we talk about the matches. And if you want to dictate the conversation your own way, super chat, PayPal, my friend. Please support our passions. It's as simple as that. And the forum is already in the chat. It's also on No DQ's forums. It'll also be, of course, in the comment section down below of each of the video streams here as part of the Simply Reliable studio. So please support my friends. Subscribe to all of them. And let's have a good time. Before we get into things, JJ, it's good to see you. It's been a long time since it's just been us two. I kind of welcome it because my mentality sometimes with all of you yahoos. How you feeling about Full Gear tomorrow, and how you been?
I've been good. As always, it's good to be seen. As far as how I'm feeling about Full Gear, if I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of indifferent because my work schedule has had me working Wednesdays the last few weeks, so I haven't even gone back to watch an episode of Dynamite.
That's
and
fair.
I stopped watching Rampage and Collision a long time ago. So I am so far out of the loop that this may be my worst prediction episode yet.
I love that aspect, though. At the end of the day, it's just predicting. It's all in the name of good fun. Well, as somebody that watches all things wrestling because he's crazy, even though he works 5 days a week, as I was watching. Here's the thing. Hi, Jeff. I literally use November, December to catch up my year in wrestling, in Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I just got through Stardom's April. Now I'm heading into May. I've already caught up all of NJPW in Japanese commentary. Hi. So I'm crazy. But of course, yes, I keep up with TNA, AEW, WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor, and of course, all of wrestling. So, you know me. Again, I literally encompass, enjoy, watch, embrace, celebrate, and just predict all things wrestling. And you can go check out me and King's Impromptu we did this past Wednesday after Dynamite, folks, for more discussions on that, including that limited to Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, the W United States Women's Championship, the last runs for John Cena, Michael Satomura, and Hiroshi Tanahashi, as well as the wrestling industry, pretty much going all streaming at this point come 2025. So go check that out if you want here on the Superman's brand. It's pretty much the only real content outside the shared content that I really do on my simple YouTube channel that I continue to like doing. But yeah, I mean, Full Gear has always been one of those shows that's been one of my favorites of the year because it always sets up so much. It also kind of finishes a lot. But now with the Continental Classic being the add-on for the second year in a row after Full Gear, and the Continental Classic, of course, will be revealed after Full Gear, our field that is, and we're going to cover opening day on Thanksgiving Eve here at the Simba Studios. I'm looking forward to this. There's a lot of matches here that have definitely a unique story to them that really could go either way. There's a lot of singles action, which I think is been one of those focuses I think that's been forgotten in pay-per-views across the board. I was almost surprised that the 8-Man All-Star was not on this show versus Dynamite. So kudos to that. And overall, I'm looking forward to it. And again, it's one of those things where I've followed this company since its genesis, and we're going to cover Genesis for TNA next year. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of matches here that I'm like, I'm not going to be mad if it goes either way. There's a couple I hope that go particularly one way. And then there's one I definitely know that has to go one way to continue the longer narrative in what feels like, I think AEW is trying to do like a soft reset. And Lord knows they need it. When you think about the additions of the Hurt Syndicate and John Moxley now has taken possession of the position that is AEW, it's a very unique situation right now. What feels like a war zone full of savages some ways right now in All Elite Wrestling.
I agree. And what's funny is you keep using the phrase, there's a lot of matches. There's a lot of matches. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the least amount of matches that's ever been on an AEW pay-per-view card.
a lot of singles matches. But
We've
yes,
literally got
yes,
9 matches
yes,
plus the 0 hour, so 10 technically.
yes, that
But
is
let's
right.
be real. Nobody cares about the 0 hour match. I mean, we'll discuss it, but does anybody really care about the Costco guy versus QT Marshall?
I'm just gonna sum it up real quick in a simple sentence. Fuck TikTok. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, and yeah, it's nice to again over time we're seeing AEW try and subtly reorganize themselves, not just the roster and the structure and the buy of the titles, but also the quantity and quality on pay-per-views. To your point, single-digit main card. Good job, Tony. Keep it up. And
I
it
think
sounds
they're finally learning from what WWE has been showing is a proven formula.
Mm-hmm. Well, Triple H, of course, always incorporated that takeover level formula of 7 matches max, if that. Now, if only he could do that with a 2-hour kickoff show that actually has matches versus a lot of talk shit content, but that's just, it is what it is.
Exactly. And I know you brought the comment up, but good to see Pop in the chat room there.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody. Cheers to all of you. Enjoy your favorite drink. Enjoy your Friday Eve, however you choose, as we engage you in what we are going to do now, which is Simply Predict. So I think without further ado, Simply Predict community, first-time watchers, ongoers, JJ, and the entire All Elite League, No DQ, Galaxy, and my ACW fan too. Let's get right into it. To your point, AEW Full Gear, of course, will come to us from the Prudential Center this Saturday on pay-per-view. Get on pay-per-view.com, Trailer TV, your local pay-per-view provider, Select Dave & Buster's. Saturday, November 23rd from Newark, New Jersey. And we have 9 matches on the main card and that. But anyway, we'll also be covering, of course, that here at Simple House Studios. So please, folks, continue to be part of the fun of our family and our passion here. We hope to see you all tomorrow night. And, of course, that will bleed in. Hopefully not too much bleeding, but this is AEW. I'm just saying last year. Of course, that will lead in, I think that's a more appropriate term, to the American Wrestling JJ Williams hosting the Saturday shenanigans. So, again, this match. Again, Costco, great start. QT, if you don't win, what the fuck are we doing? At least the 0 hour, it's not taking TV time. It's subbing free. It's almost probably going to be as long as your local YouTube advertisement. So, Orange Cassidy, whatever. Okay, Go ahead.
It reminds me of the old days when WWE had the free-for-alls, and you'd maybe get a match on that to try to hype people to order the pay-per-view before Sunday Night Heat was a lead-in thing.
Sunday Night Heat.
You say QT Marshall doesn't win, what are we doing here? But let's be real. How often has there been an incident where a celebrity, and I use that term loosely, has participated in a match and they haven't been the victor?
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Answer me this logically. And again, I acknowledge the fact that it's been a couple of weeks since I watched Dynamite and even longer since I watched Rampage and Collision. But when was the last time QT Marshall was featured on an episode of AEW television? So why would they give him a victory here?
Fair point. All right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Boom Boom Colt Cabana. Oh no, not that. Botch. The AJ guy.
They're probably going to give this AJ guy because if we're being legit here, if they're actually billing him by using the Costco brand, AEW may have worked out some kind of deal as far as promotions with Costco to be doing some kind of marketing or something in the long term.
Well, they do have that furniture partnership, and you need a big store to sell that. So Costco would definitely be the place to go. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, big boom. Okay, now that we got that bullshit out of the way, let's get to some real stuff, shall we? And the thing, I didn't go full NAF. But let's go ahead and talk about our favorite scumbag, shall we? Because, JJ, how is Roderick Strong going to send MJF on his own form of End of Heartache? It's the first time ever one-on-one matchup. MJF goes one-on-one with the Undisputed Kingdom and Adam Cole's friend, Roderick Strong. This match was brought on the fact that Adam Cole and Roderick Strong seek one thing, giving MJF the worst beating of a lifetime. MJF dangling that golden carrot while getting a massage. How fitting against the Messiah of the Backbreaker. He allowed these two the chance under one condition. As always, they each had to win 3 consecutive matches. And the first to do that would face him at Full Gear. But Adam Cole gave us story time, of course, a few weeks ago when I was at Friday Night Live and saw his incredible match with Buddy Matthews in his first test of 3. If both men get 3 consecutive wins, it could be a triple threat all elite beatdown on MJF, and that'd be undisputed. But when MJF had a sense of urgency and was starting to get a little bit pissed off that both men were at 2 wins, he made a deal with somebody not as bad as the devil, but might as well be called Lucifer, a parasite, Don Callis. He literally gave the man a block full of money and his 100K diamond ring. While Roderick Strong was able to overcome the likes of Lance Archer and the False Count Anywhere in his final match, Adam Cole the same night was unable to overcome Konosuke Takeshita thanks to a 100K Dynamite Diamond Ring KO punch. So Adam Cole is not part of Full Gear, but Roderick Strong is. But there's another added element here. Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, concern from Kyle O'Reilly. Just saying, my black and gold NXT friends and fans. He talked about how Adam Cole cannot be a greater evil than MJF, nor can you beat it. But you need to think of yourself as a leader when it comes to your friends and someone getting hurt. Because Kyle O'Reilly doesn't want to see his friends getting hurt, even though Kyle O'Reilly is still part of the conglomeration. That's a whole different thing. So we got this one-on-one match. And of course, MJF has not been seen in in-ring action since losing to beating Daniel Garcia back it all out, but getting a pile driver and going to film Happy Gilmore too. Okay, so here we are. The fact that 1 year ago, it was MJF and Adam Cole as Brochachos together, and the story of the entire night was MJF defending the AEW World Championship against Switchblade Jay White on one good leg. Now we've gone 1 year later. Neither man has anything to do with the title. Adam Cole and MJF are mortal enemies. Adam Cole is not on the card. MJF is on the card once again in a singles match. And it feels like to me, if you're betting against MJF, you might be a little bit crazy. It is one of those things, though, after bringing up his personal family history, how Roderick Strong's family was addicts, one shot the other. Jesus. But Roderick Strong, of course, thank you for giving us an elementary school lesson 101. He's accepted that. And now he's just looking to teach MJF a lesson in humility. And he didn't necessarily beat him, but break his back. So I think Roderick Strong's going to get what he wants, but I still think MJF wins in the end. So what do you think about this singles match based on all of that?
I definitely think that you've got to go with MJF in this instance. I mean, at the end of the day, Roderick Strong isn't the match people want to see. And that's no disrespect to Roddy. Everyone wants MJF and Adam Cole, baby. So MJF not only beats Roddy here, but then humiliates him after, embarrasses him after. You know, Cole comes out, and I feel like we may be set up for World's End, MJF and Adam Cole, the end permanently of this angle.
1 year ago to the day that Adam Cole betrayed MJF. How's that for long-term storytelling? And Kyle O'Reilly and them might unite. But it's just one of those things right now where the bigger end game, the bigger money match, and MJF's all about the money, it is him and Adam Cole. And he's going to delay Adam Cole's chance at revenge as long as he can milk it. And I also don't think MJF has any intentions of being part of the Continental Classics, which means Adam Cole, you're just going to have to wait again. According to the poll so far, thinking of those that filled in the form so far, include but not limited to No DQ's own Walter Cruz, Big G, Matt Hauser, Jerry Slaughter, my friend C. Please follow her, CNHNL on the social media, folks. Continue achieving and living that dream. Big_space, best name ever. Charlene, Con Andrew, Rocco, Justin, Marcini, David Diaz, The Rocket, Dwayne Atkinson, and shout out to my fellow horsemen, Mark Griffith, Chris Ross, and Jeff Chadwick, and Kimberly. Thank you for those that are filling it so far, and keep your predictions going. They will be made official. You can still change them, but they are finalized 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night, Saturday night. Believe it or not, it is not undisputedly unanimous. There's one person that picked Roderick Strong to win this. 96%, 26 to 27 did pick our scumbag MJF because he's better than you and you know it. And at the end of the day, what he does, you can thank him later. Nathan Banks, good to see you. And it looks like Pop also agrees with the sentiment here. MJF. It's just a matter now of how do you get MJF to face Adam Cole at World's End? What trials does MJF put Adam Cole through? What personal or mental statements does Adam Cole try to send MJF's way to force his hand? We know that MJF has a very short fuse. So I'm very curious to see if we are going to get Adam Cole and MJF, to your point, at World's End. Or maybe it's MJF versus Kyle O'Reilly because Kyle's concerned for Adam Cole. I think there is more to this than meets the eye. But yeah, Roderick Strong is just the first domino. But still, it should be quite a match.
Yeah, I feel like Kyle O'Reilly, no disrespect to him, that's a throwaway Dynamite match. That's not pay-per-view caliber. And if we don't do it at World's End, Wrestle Dynasty doesn't make sense.
No.
By the time you get to Grand Slam Australia, if that event still happens, because there's rumors it may end up getting canceled due to underwhelming ticket sales, then you're Revolution in March? Like, that's too long to stream this on. I'm all about long-term storytelling, but if we don't get it at World's End, people are going to lose interest.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I could think of is the first day of the year at Fight for the Fallen, where Adam Cole might find about half of his fallen friends to finally get revenge against MJF. Whether he ultimately wins or loses, that remains to be seen. Plus, the fact that will be the first Dynamite streaming on Max, you want a big-time main event with one of your star players.
That's possible. I had forgotten about that. And to have Maxwell Jacob Friedman in the main event, the first streaming show on Max, there's marketing synergy that they could do there.
Yeah, marketing.
That's the only way I'd be okay with a Kyle O'Reilly at World's End match, is if we were going to get MJF and Cole on the first Dynamite of the new year.
See, you're not the only one that can do some medium-length storytelling. I've learned from you.
That was good, though, because I forgot about the fact that the first episode of Dynamite will be streaming on Max. And again, MJF, Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, Max. It works.
Max on Max. How much?
Yeah, seriously, you could almost make it seem like it's his network.
Don't give him ideas to turn the Max layers from white to Burberry, all right? Stop it.
Dude, come on. You're the one that just spoke it into ether. If they don't
I know you're
make
thinking
that
it.
a t-shirt.
You're the marketing and you're thinking it. I know you're thinking it.
If they don't make that a t-shirt now, they failed.
The Tony Khan, don't listen to me. Anyway, moving on. Dadgummit. I want to go back in time now from that statement. Speaking of going back in time, let's go ahead and talk about the youngest men this century and so much more, because who's ready for a party? Because Private Party's invited a lot of people to this one. It's an AEW World Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way. The current champs, Private Party, going into their first defense after these three teams earned their way into this party. Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King, who of course beat FTR in their first and only ever traditional tag team matchup to earn their spot. The Outrunners, let's fucking go! They beat Top Flight and Listen, the Acclaimed, former AEW tag team champions. They beat Los Fashions and Gobernables this past Saturday to secure the final spot. Bottom line, this is the first match in what really feels like the race of the tag team division, because last year you thought you were going to maybe have Young Bucks at this time. Young Bucks, of course, who had the tag team opportunity but lost against the Golden Jets. But, of course, the Young Bucks, who have pretty much had the tag team titles since Dynasty this year, Private Party beat them at Fright Night in what was a do or die for their team's future. So glad I saw that moment live. So here we stand at Private Party's first defense, where they don't have to be involved in the decision to lose their championships. I mean, I can flex all I want like Tony Schiavone, but that doesn't change the fact that, again, I do think it would be absolutely insane if Private Party does not win their first defense. The thing is, though, it's not triple threat. What's my triple threat formula? Buffer, fall person. Got a fatal 4-way, which tells me one of these teams is suspension of disbelief to challenge them under traditional means. And obviously, that team can't be involved in the decision. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, JJ, knowing the Acclaim is the only other team here that's been tag team champions, and the Kings of Black Throne, the most notorious trios champions in, of course, AEW history, and Brody King last year was part of the Continental Classic, which, of course, after Full Gear. We'll learn the Continental Classic field. And then we got the Outrunners because Outrunners are fucking awesome. What do you think about this Fatal 4-Way? And also, Max Caster has a certain business card of MVP.
I kind of agree with Lily here. I mean, there's no way Private Party is going to lose their first title defense.
That's the Lily.
I Tony Khan can be a bumbling idiot when it comes to booking, but there's no way that you have Private Party finally defeat the Young Bucks for the titles and just have them drop the belts the first time. Mm-hmm. I think the story of this match isn't who's going to win, but who's going to get pinned. Mm-hmm. Now, from what I have seen in the little bit that I've watched as of recent and what I've been hearing online, Acclaimed are on a slow burn to a heel turn. And I think that if they're the team that gets pinned, that kind of accelerates that heel turn. That then saves the Kings of the Black Throne and the Outrunners for potential matches down the road. Possibly doing Kings of the Black Throne at World's End and the Outrunners at either that first Dynamite or at Grand Slam. And then by then you've had a nice little 3.5 month, almost 4 month run for Private Party. It's believable that the Outrunners could dethrone them at that point by making them the final team to get that one-on-one shot against Private Party. Or you even go from a Fatal 4-Way to World's End being a triple threat to the next match being team versus team. And because the Outrunners were the team that didn't get pinned at any point, that's how you survive to them being the team to get the one-on-one shot, so to speak.
Okay, look at you with the domino effect. But I'll also add these extra factors. Like I said, Max Caster, he's been holding on to MVP's business card in his jacket. So is it a team heel turn or a team splitting? Are we finally going to be done scissoring by the end of 2024? Just saying. FTR, they said that they're hoping that the Outrunners win, top runners, but let's be honest here. FTR literally hold the fact that Private Party beat the Young Bucks before them, I think, in personal envy, because they wanted to make history to be the ones to beat the Young Bucks and, of course, become 3-time AEW Tag Team Champions. I think FTR going heel if Outrunners lose here or think they're about to win is another possibility. And as far as Kings of the Black Throne, it is one of those things that surprised me about Malachi Black. And again, he's been going for a lot of mental stuff as well. And I look at his cryptic promos about silence the shadows, the voices in my head. Was that singles match with Adam Cole enough silence, or does a win here or somehow getting a traditional tag title opportunity and even a run, does that completely silence it? Because people still have Malachi Black's future completely up in the air. But again, the dynamics of the House of Black, all 4 members, no one Julia Hart is coming back home soon. It's incredible because they can work under any foundation. And truth be told, we did have the House of Black involved last year in a Fatal 4-Way ladder match for the tag titles when Absolute Record Fox and Big Bill were able to retain. It's one of those things right now where each of these teams has a cause and effect no matter what happens. But you got to look at Private Party holding on to the championships. It's just a matter of what's after the fact. And if Brody King is once again in the Continental Classic, your Kings of the Black Throne idea might go up in flames through World's End, because he was only 1 match away from being part of World's End in the final.
That's fair. That's fair. As far as, is it just going to be Max Caster to turn? Is it going to be a breakup? I don't know how the Acclaimed survive in the AEW landscape if they're not a team. You know, I don't see single stardom for either one of them. No offense. Even with a complete character change, Neither one of them is going to be AEW champion. And then you look at the mid-card, lower mid-card singles titles, and it's like, who can see, Max Caster defeating Jack Perry?
We'll talk about that here more in a
Right.
moment.
Let's just run with who has the belts right now, though. Who could see him beating Takeshita, Okada? I don't buy it. Same with Anthony Bowen. I just don't see it. And you mentioned last year's Fatal 4-Way Ladder match and Ricky Starks. Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know if he's still injured or is he still in contract negotiations or what, but good question. But again, he also has been very silent, so I guess it's not up for us to try and guess. He'll tell us what his absolute decision is, I'm sure, before the year's end. If he's in the Continental Classic, then I guess we'll have our answer. And Daniel here also talking about what I was thinking about earlier, because let's be honest here, FTR has kind of been proverbial baby faces for the majority of their run post-pandemic. But if they want to hold those AEW Tag Team Champions in a higher regard than their own family, dadgummit, and they are beloved by the fans, and they also have endorsed the Outrunners, I could definitely see FTR versus the Outrunners being a feud that makes FTR go heel and really push them to try and be the top guys once again. So we'll see. Oh, and look at that. He's going with Kings of the Black Throne. And again, I think that just goes to the fact that, again, Malachi Black, Brody King, such an effective duo, former tag team champions under multiple promotions. And it looks like everybody here has a fair shake on who they want to win, but the majority are sticking with the party. Private Party with 22 to 27. The Acclaim with 1 vote. The Outrunners with 2. Yes. And Kings of the Black Throne with 2 votes. So, again, there is still a little bit of that dynamic of any of these teams could be the tag champions, but if you end the party this soon, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
All right. Well, you brought up Jack Perry earlier, so let's see, to your point, if, and this is the word of the day, and I'm not Mark Briscoe, but it's been the word of this feud, dadgum, is Daniel Garcia willing to sacrifice to show he's ready? Where at one point he said he would live and die 1,000 times to win gold in AEW. It's his second chance this year at the TNT Championship for those that remember Revolution. If I ever got an opportunity in between, please remind me. It's Scapegoat Jack Perry defending the TNT Championship against Daniel Garcia. Okay, so simply put, ever since this whole reset phase of this war zone era of AEW, it seems, with the Death Riders holding possession of the position, we've seen this uprise in attitude, aggression, and hunger, especially from Daniel Garcia, who, again, he decided to re-sign stay with AEW. Kudos to him. It's one of those things also, though, where he talked about how Jack Perry, you've been given everything. You were born with verbal silver spoon in your mouth, considering who he's the son of. I mean, is he wrong? Just saying. No lies detected. But also, like you also talked about, Jack Perry evolved his character when he was literally probably in the worst spot ever in the business. He came back. He kicked Tony Khan right in the gut. He became part of the elite. He became TNT champion. He showcased his championship, taking on all comers, and truly has made it into his own image. I mean, he literally forged that title, folks, believe it or not. But Daniel Garcia, though, he believes that he is ready and he's more willing to live and die for AEW versus Jack Perry. But Jack Perry talked about, again, I'll give you the match, but you're not ready because you're not willing to sacrifice. We all got to make sacrifices. Daniel Garcia needed to sacrifice his moral code, where he literally abducted the bus and the scapegoat, had him chained to a chair, crowbar in hand, didn't deck him in the head. He just literally beat up his bus a couple of times. And it's almost like Jack Perry was disappointed, embarrassed. Does Daniel Garcia have the killer instinct and is willing to go what he needs to do versus what the fans think he's going to do as a fan favorite? And by the way, he no longer does that whole dance thing, which I'm kind of glad to see. Is Daniel Garcia ready to be TNT champion, JJ? Do you think he get it done? Do we get a 30-minute draw? Or once again, does Jack Perry make another sacrifice at the expense of Matt Menard maybe this time?
I'm shocked I've been as much of a supporter of Jack Perry as I have been since his reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
But if to Lily's point again, Lily is taking all my thoughts. Maybe they just need to be on the panel here. But like,
I welcome it.
if we don't give the belt to Garcia, what are we doing? What was the point of him re-signing, reinventing if you're not going to give him the push? You know, the elite, the Bucks have already lost their belts and left. So the new elite is already falling apart. There's only two pieces of the puzzle left to lose their championships. Jack Perry and the man who made bitch a catchphrase.
David Okada, corporate Okada, best man in the business. Don't at me. Continue. Beach.
So it would almost stand to assume that Perry loses the belt here, and come World's End, Okada loses his title. Then the entire elite will have lost their belts. The world is over as they know it. And we go into January 1st and the new era with new champions. I won't be mad if Perry retains, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Garcia here.
This is the first match so far where I'm torn. Jack Perry's made a lot of truths also in what he said about Daniel Garcia. I almost put up the fact that with King, shout out to my AEW fan, is Matt Menard maybe more of a hindrance than an actual advancement for Daniel Garcia? Yeah, he's been in his corner his entire career, but you almost wonder with the fact he's so tied to him, that concern, that humble reminder, I almost wonder if Daniel Garcia were to sacrifice the relationship with Matt Menard, would that show that he is willing to do what it means to stand on his own and be champion? I do think there is definitely something in Daniel Garcia, but I also think there's still something holding him back. But to your point, with this whole idea of, again, new era, reset, you know, salt the earth, if you want to call it that. Young Bucks are gone. There's one domino. Jack Perry, he would be another. But also Jack Perry, he's already got future work. He's challenging Yota Tsuji at Wrestle Dynasty, whether or not title or no title. He's going to be part of the Tokyo Dome. So maybe sacrificing this TNT Championship run means he will be pursuing a different type of run. Maybe he'll be even part of the Continental Classic. Who knows? But I think he's definitely had a great run as TNT champion. He's definitely, again, brought this title back to its own identity that we haven't seen in a long daggone time. So I think just right now with everything going on, cause and effect, Continental Classic, the 2025 first week of AEW, Fight for the Fallen, and Wrestle Dynasty, might I add, happening in the same week. I think Daniel Garcia deserves a chance to show us that he is ready to lead as a champion. I'm going to go with Red Death here. I'm going with you. I'm going with Daniel Garcia. But it looks like a majority are sort of agreeing with us. 55 to 44% are in favor of a new champion. So I hope Daniel Garcia does have his moment. He lost it all out, to your point. He lost against Will Ospreay earlier this year for their national championship in front of his family and got embarrassed and pile driver by MJF. Now he's re-signed and now he's more determined than ever. I think he's ready and I think he deserves it. I'm going to go with Daniel Garcia.
The $1 million question, though, is if he wins the championship, do we see the arms come up and him dance to celebrate?
I mean, that would be the most celebratory, heavy thrusting of his pelvis that I think anyone would ever see. I don't know if his you remember when somebody got hurt when they hit the barricade, right? I think too much excitement could break a person's body. Just I'm not a doctor, but okay, I don't know. That's a unique question. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Okay, but still, okay. Good talk. That I agree with. Garments. That I agree with. I like Lily. She's got great analysis. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on. I just talked about the International Championship. Let's go ahead and talk about that because this guy's also got a future ahead. at the Tokyo Dome as well. And it is so damn good to see this guy with the title. But also, it's great to see this guy out of this world and once again remind us exactly who the fuck he is. It's Konosuke Takeshita going one-on-one against Ricochet, defending the AEW International Championship. Konosuke Takeshita, of course, who won this title at Wrestle Dream with the help of the Don Callis family after Kyle Fletcher screwed Driver, his former brother-in-arms from the United Empire, Will Ospreay, that allowed Konosuke to win in the triple threat, while Ricochet was not involved in the decision. But since then, both these men have been very busy. Konosuke Takeshita has been defending this title all over the world, including against TJP at Fighting Spirit Unleashed, most recently, now being confronted by Shingo Takagi, the neverweight champion, for the Tokyo Dome, and Tomohiro Ishii is also in that fray. Yes, please. By Ricochet, he's already taken an opportunity to challenge Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Dynasty if he gets through Shota Umino at Wrestle Kingdom 19. But looking at right now, Konosuke Takeshita, who also had a great match of the year candidate with Speedball Mike Bailey, at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. It's one of those things where, again, this match was just made official, and I honestly thought they were going to hold out for this in World's End, but, it is what it is. I just feel like right now that, again, with the added momentum that the Don Callis family's been on since literally its reshaping, throwing out Will Ospreay, adding Brian Cage, the Ring of Honor Television Champion, and Lance Archer as their possible tag team of destruction, Konosuke Takeshita finally a freaking champion in AEW, and Kyle Fletcher looking to stay on his own. Don Callis fan right now, the AEW is the strength of heels. It is the dark ages, period. All the heels, all the factions right now, they hold the power. And I think right now that kind of is going to go into the new era. So just based off of that and Konosuke going to his fourth defense right now, I think Konosuke is going to retain, but this is definitely going to be a hell of a first because these two men have never faced one-on-one before. But King Ricochet might fly, but I think I'm going to put it out there right now. Konosuke Takeshita will fucking win with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Damn it! But I got Konosuke Takeshita. I got the Alpha retaining. JJ, your thoughts? Not only on the Blue Thunder Bomb comment, because I knew you, but your thoughts on this match and Konosuke Takeshita's international championship run and where we go from here.
Nobody ever wins a match with the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Damn it.
That being said, I agree with pretty much everything else that you said. I've got Takeshita retaining here as well. I feel like it's just too soon for Ricochet to get a championship. And if you're going to give him the title, wait until either World's End or wait until the first episode of the year on the Max app.
Mm-hmm.
You wait for something monumental to do that with. It's. I feel like Ricochet came over here for greener pastures, only to find out that the grass isn't as green on the other side of the fence.
That jury's still out on that. He seems to be having a hell of a time, and he even returned back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Which I never thought.
He may be having fun, and that's all great, but I don't see him being any better booked than he was over there. At least not yet.
Yeah, and it's still very young. He's only been part of AEW since August when he showed up in that Battle Royal, to your point.
That's fair, but in almost 4 months, aside from the matches against Ospreay, I haven't really seen him do anything to write home about.
Oh, I have. Dynamite.
Again, lack of watching these last few weeks, but
all right, that's why I got you. But yeah,
I just don't see anything drastic out of him enough to convince me that he's getting the title this time.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, if nothing else, Konosuke, he's been an incredible champion. This will strengthen his title run. And again, this match is just going to be fucking awesome. Believe it or not, it is almost 50%. It is 47 to 52% in favor of Konosuke retaining. So we are on the majority side. And it's one of those things where, again, originally Konosuke, he had his eyes set, and maybe he wants to be a double champion. He has his eyes set on Kazuchika Okada and the Continental Championship. And again, the winner of the Continental Classic will challenge the Rainmaker for that very title. I imagine at World's End, but it would really, really amaze me if they do the finals at World's End and they challenge Okada for that title in the Tokyo Dome, in Okada's home turf, Wrestle Dynasty, where again, we're going to have 5 companies underneath one roof. I just want to see Okada back in the Tokyo Dome one more time. But that being said, yeah, I think Konosuke, the Alpha, definitely deserves it. So, again, should be an incredible match, and I'm curious to see what's next for both men following this. Again, Konosuke, he's already got targets. Ricochet, is he just going to stay on this, or is he going to do something else? And also, how you protect Ricochet as well. I imagine it's going to be a family effort, especially what happened during that 8-man All-Star this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Good grief. And we know Powerhouse Hobbs is also looking for revenge against the family. I wouldn't mind seeing Powerhouse Hobbs versus Konosuke for this title, just because. Okay, well, let's go ahead and change gears. And JJ, that's where it's at. And I know you got thoughts. So let's go ahead and be civil, unless people want to see the Renegade Unleashed. Let's go ahead and talk about the TBS Championship as Mercedes Moné with Camille in the corner, allegedly, will defend the title against the former TBS champion from 1 year ago, might I add, Kris Statlander. Last year, she entered in as champ, lost it, wasn't involved in the decision, never got a rematch in any capacity, not even a one-on-one. Ever since Kris Statlander was reborn after the fall and betrayal against her friend and given one of the most violent matches this year at All Out, she's demonstrated once again that she wants to make history and become the face of TBS. She also talked about this time when she wins the title, she's not going to be as gracious as a champion. She's not going to try and burn herself out defending it and showcasing it every week. She's going to actually have people earn it, and that just goes to show her growth and development as a wrestler and also just as a person. So good on her. Mercedes Moné, of course, has held this title since Double or Nothing after being Will Nightingale, has defended it quite prominently, but I think it's run its course. And I think the bigger thing here is her treatment of Camille. I, of course, saw the Battle of the Powerhouses live at Fright Night when it was Kris Statlander versus Camille, and Camille suffered her first loss at the hands of Saturday Night Fever. And since then, pretty much, Camille has not been in Moné's good graces, including the fact that they tried to pull a freaking Terra and Mass and Rain angle with Mickie James trying to run Kris Statlander over with a vehicle. And then Kris drove Mercedes Moné and Camille through a wall. And Kris Statlander is heading in here with all the momentum right now after beating the ace of AEW, Garcia, this past Wednesday on Dynamite and dropping Moné on her head with Saturday Night Fever after a failed cheap attack. But it does sound like Moné has a business plan in mind for Saturday, and it could involve a couple of renegades. But also, Shida has asked for the first shot if Kris wins. And there's something about Shida right now where I almost wonder, is she confident enough in herself? I didn't see no tension. It seemed like Statlander and Shida were on the same page following that attempted, why would you say Camille with the sling? Just saying. I cannot wait for Camille to drop that bitch. But it feels like to me, one of two things is going to happen. Somebody's showing up or somebody's turning. I'm going to leave it at that as far as my thoughts go. And now let's let the gentleman here at talk. So, JJ, what do you think the future is regarding the TBS Championship with Mercedes Moné and Kris Statlander? Is Stat once again going to be the face of TBS, or does the CEO once again come up with a different portfolio that allows her to keep her investment? I know.
As much as it pains me to say it, the CEO will not go bankrupt at Full Gear.
Damn it.
I agree with the GTA stripper comment, by the way.
Jesus! Y'all are just harsh. Continue.
Granted, I'm not the biggest video gamer, but I do remember where you could do it with a hooker in GTA and you'd like refurbish your life force up. It's kind of what Mercedes Moné is right now.
I'm just going to leave both of those things alone right now because
you know I'm right.
I just go to GTA for the narratives and to shoot bad people in the face. But anyway, continue.
Again, I feel like if you're going to take the title off Mercedes, you need to make it something monumental. And it's either going to have to be the end of the world or the debut on the Max app. I feel like this could be the match where, despite the tension, Camille assists Mercedes just to kind of like string her along a little bit. That way, when she does pull the trigger, it's that much more effective. The old Russo swerve, as it will, because everyone's expecting her to turn here. But if she attacks Stat and allows Mercedes to keep the title, no one's going to see that coming. That way, when the trigger gets pulled at World's End on Max, it's like, whoa.
Okay. Well,
And trust me, you know damn well I would rather have anybody other than Mercedes with this championship, including Stat.
I admire you for admitting that. Okay, before I get my thoughts, here's how partisan this match actually is. It's almost 50-50, and it's even a smaller gap. 48 to 51%. 51% in favor of Moné retaining. So here's the thing. For the longest time, yes, please support good old JM Just Meet Them and the very aggressive JJ Williams. Here's the thing. She's already got the moment. She has the championship. She got the redemption. Okay? Whoop-de-freaking do. Statlander hasn't had this title for 1 year. It's 1 year later at the same pay-per-view. I think it would be an incredible moment for her to regain this championship. And then if she promises Shida that match, Shida goes heel and Shida wins it off of her because Shida wants to make his the first woman to hold both the TBS and AEW Women's World Championship. I think a heel Shida is coming. And they are clearly playing the seeds for Camille to drop that bitch. And we're all going to rejoice once it happens, clearly. But I don't think that's going to happen until we hear the words, "You're fired," from Moné, as far as Camille being part of Moné Enterprise, whatever it is. And that's what Moné brings into Renegades. My overall narrative wants to see Stat win Saturday, Moné lose her shit, fire Camille, bring in the Renegades, and then you develop Statlander and Shida where Shida goes dark. But I just don't know if they're going to pull that trigger right now with Ricardo Shida, who has been very predominantly featured on Dynamite, Rampage. And by the way, Rampage is phasing out next year. There's only literally tickets for Collision and Dynamite, folks. So it was a fun ride. But it's also one of those things where, again, I talk about future business. Mercedes Moné, she has 2 championships. She's defending that other title at one of our watch-alongs, JJ, next month. Spirit Evolve against Hazuki from Stardom. So in the perfect world, Moné could lose both titles before the end of the year. Wouldn't that show some humility and actually moving forward the business? Just saying. But I get the status quo. I get the money in name in Moné, according to the business. But I really, really, really want to see Statlander drop her on her head again. But this is wrestling. One-on-one logic. What does it mean when the challenger goes in with all the momentum ahead of the pay-per-view? They lose. I think we are going to get an interesting moment out of this, but I do agree with you that Moné is retaining the TBS championship by the skin of her teeth, whatever they're worth. Moné to retain begrudgingly. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate key here is the quote-unquote creative control that Mercedes has. If that is accurate.
If I was a rumor.
That's why I said if.
I know.
And I hate that I am speaking this into the ether. If that is accurate, I could see Tony and Mercedes booking herself to surpass Jade Cargill's reign and erase her as the longest reigning TBS champion.
I pray to God you're wrong, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
I pray to God I'm wrong too. But, ... From a business marketing standpoint, name me another woman on the AEW roster that has the global name recognition of Mercedes Moné.
I got nothing.
And I rest my case.
All right. Well, case dismissed. Bottom line, my heart says Statlander, but my mind says Moné by that 2% margin in this survey. But
and I'm right there with you.
And again, Stat's still very young in her wrestling career, and wrestling Moné is only going to raise Stat stock. But someone tell me these two are not going to be done with each other after this either, especially if the Renegades show up or Shida goes dark. But something has to give here, and clearly we're seeing the cracks form in the foundation of her and the Brick House as a duo. So if that's a longer-term thing to come, and somehow she does become the face of TBS, then I'll be okay with that. But I am still more so holding out for Stats.
And you keep mentioning the Renegades joining her like everybody is holding out hope for a Moose Obafemi match. Like, it seems like every time we do an AEW predictions, you mention the Renegades joining her, and it hasn't happened yet.
That's because Shaw hasn't been cleared. But fair enough. All right. Well, that was some good conversation. Nicely done, by the way. And I think that pretty much was eloquently put. Now let's go ahead and talk about this match here, where can Switchblade Jay White once again prove why he is self-proclaimed the Nostradamus of professional wrestling and do what no one's done yet in AEW? Make Hangman Adam Page tap out. Or does Hangman get his revenge? You tell me. It's Hangman Adam Page versus Switchblade Jay White once again, one-on-one. This time at AEW full gear. These guys' history goes all the way back to Ring of Honor, and pretty much 9 out of 10 times, Jay White has had the Hangman's number. If it wasn't for Christian Cage, it would be unblemished. We saw the most perfectly wrestled, methodical dissection of Hangman Adam Page at Wrestle Dream JJ in Switchblade Jay White's return to pay-per-view after Jay White was unseen for months following the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, losing to Hangman Adam Page thanks to Christian Cage. Hangman Adam Page is already going in here with a bad leg, and obviously his mentality is beyond broken. Last year, we saw Hangman Adam Page one of the damnedest matches ever in AEW history with Swerve Strickland and lost. This year, though, does Hangman Adam Page find some sort of redemption? Or once again, does Jay White prove why, again, Jay White will always be better than the Hangman? And considering Jay White was a participant in last year's Continental Classic, and he just came back, I, for one, would not want to affect Switchblade's momentum this soon in his comeback, where at the end of the day, his ultimate goal is getting the AEW World Championship. And to see Hangman even more diffuse the fact that he can't beat Jay White kind of would make me laugh, because this unhinged Hangman has been very entertaining and some unique promos. JJ, what's your thoughts on this one-on-one affair? Does Jay White beat Hangman Adam Page? Does he make him tap out? Or does Hangman get his way where at the end of the day, he says there's no winners or losers, just victims? I mean, is he okay with being a victim again of Jay White? You tell me. What do you see happening here in this singles match?
We went from one person I can't stand to another person I can't stand.
I wanted to get this stuff out of the way for you.
I just want Switchblade Jay White to win.
Yeah.
Do I think he will? I don't know. I feel like, we've got to have people that I don't like get some W's here. We can't have all of them lose.
From a personal standpoint.
But I'm giving the victory to Mercedes, so I think I can feel okay in giving the victory here to Jay White.
Appreciate it, by the way, DJ Mike. That's why I put them up there a little longer. All right. Well, again, it is one of those things right now where at the end of the day, Hangman Adam Page is not going to rest until he beats Jay White. We saw what he did in that tag team match with Rock Hard Juice Robinson and Christian Cage, where Christian Cage basically, showed Hangman his underhanded ways of working people. And he was able to get the win, hitting the buckshot lariat on Juice Robinson. The one thing we have not seen Hangman Adam Page do is hit the buckshot lariat on Jay White since his return. And that might be the difference maker here. And the fact that Hangman is going in here on a bad leg, and we might just be an HTO, Hangman tap out away from Jay White, putting Hangman on the shelf for a moment. I think Hangman's going to do what he has to do to get the win here. But I think right now, I'm breathing with the switchblade. I'm going against you. I think Jay White deserves to continue this forward momentum, and we see how much more desperate Hangman gets to maybe beat him. Maybe this is something they could build in the Continental Classic. Hangman one block, Jay White the other block. They meet one-on-one towards the end. In the semifinals, Hangman costs Jay White. Hangman doesn't win ultimately in the end. But I think there is a longer saga here right now with these two. And after the long-distance war that Swerve and Hangman have, you got to give Hangman something different to buy into. And despite what people might think of him, he is one of the most complete and overall dedicated workers in AEW. So I'm going with Switchblade Jay White.
So did I. You're not going against me. I picked Jay White also.
Oh, okay. I wasn't, because I remember your reluctancy, but all right.
Because I picked Mercedes to win, so I felt like it was okay for me to pick Jay White here.
Oh, that's fair. Let's see here. Oh, we're actually in the minority. I think people are just on that cowboy shiznag, or they just want to see some 50-50 booking. Not everything has to be 50-50 booking in wrestling, folks, believe it or not. The AEW seems to do that more often than other companies, too. 75% are going with him and Page, while the rest are going with Jay White. And thanks for that. I've been up since 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bite me, Walter, all right? You're not even here. Why, will botch. Okay. And whether or not, Rock Hard Juice Robinson gets involved, Christian Cage has his own agenda. He's supposed to be the next, quote-unquote, AEW World Champion. I don't see anyone else getting involved on Hangman's behalf. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about what most likely will be the match of the night. Bruv. In a match that you, I think, will have some interest in because you care about both these men. You've certainly seen what Kyle Fletcher is willing to do. Is Kyle Fletcher his own man or a Will Ospreay wannabe? What Kyle Fletcher said he will die for, Will Ospreay says, it's just Saturday, bruv, and you are just an enemy. While Will Ospreay looks to be the savior of AEW. It's Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher one-on-one for the second time ever in AEW, but first time ever on AEW pay-per-view. Again, this really escalated after Grand Slam when Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay lost their chance to beat the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships because Will Ospreay's moral code prevented Kyle Fletcher from giving him the hate and Don Callis' itinerary to use the screwdriver. And ultimately that cost them. Things really picked up, though, when Will Ospreay lost his AEW National Championship at Wrestle Dream thanks to Kyle Fletcher's betrayal. A screwdriver to the head and a Tiger Driver 91 that put Will Ospreay on the shelf for a few weeks. He even says right now he still can't feel this shoulder, and that's the shoulder he uses for the Stormbreaker. But with how much of a personal tie that Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher have, riding together up and down the road with Will Ospreay's family, picking up his son from school, knowing his wife, wrestling in empty arenas during the pandemic, living together, forming an empire. And Mark Davis is back in the fray. Mark Davis, of course, who ate a hidden blade, impromptu, friendly fire, thanks to Kyle Fletcher getting out of the way this past Wednesday on Dynamite in the 8-Man All-Star that allowed the Don Callis family to win with Konosuke pinning Mark Davis. Momentum right now favors, again, the Don Callis family. It's one of those things where I look at Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. I compare it to Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada. The drive that Ospreay had when he became the Commonwealth Kingpin to beat Okada, to surpass him, to once call himself the real world champion when NJPW decided to go interim. And Will Ospreay never truly got that, especially now the first time going. Now we got Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay here going one-on-one for the first time ever in AEW pay-per-view. Kyle Fletcher's biggest opportunity to really stand out and shine as his own man, but does he get it done the first time out? I think this truly right here is a longer-term saga. JJ, I thought for a moment this was going to be where they were going to do the 8-Man All-Star, like an All-Star war with the Don Callis and Will Ospreay and associates, and save this match for World's End. But here we stand. Who's to say this doesn't continue, though, into World's End? I don't think this is a one-off by any means whatsoever. JJ, what do you think about this match and who you got winning?
I might be in the minority here, but I feel like Ospreay is the easy answer. I feel like if there's anything to really be gained from this, Fletcher has to get the victory. I don't know if Fletcher gets it straight up on his own or if he gets it by dubious means. because after all, he's connected to the Callis family.
I'm pretty sure Don Callis will be on commentary.
However, if he gets it by dubious means, I don't think it's anybody connected with the Callis family that's going to help him. I think it's Mark Davis.
Former running mate, United Empire, Aussie Open. Mark Davis did say, though, that I am by your side, Will Ospreay, but you are the reason that the Empire has fallen. Fletcher did say to Mark Davis, you will be forced to make a choice here very soon. And don't think that I won't drop someone else that I once considered family. Of course, I saw that promo live at Fright Night. It's one of those things, though, that Will Ospreay, he lost a Wrestle Dream. He's no longer a W International champion. You give Will Ospreay 2 loses on back-to-back AEW pay-per-views. That's the one thing that kind of gets me. Because, again, I think Kyle Fletcher is going to try and demonstrate a point. And if he doesn't get in winning, you've seen how many times a heel still gets the statement at the end in defeat. And I definitely see the longer itinerary here with Don Callis. But to be fair, like you said, when Konosuke Takeshita, of course, decided to align with Don Callis, Konosuke was finally able to beat Kenny Omega in one-on-one action thanks to Don Callis' interference. So I think you're on to something here, but I just don't think right now they're going to just give Fletcher the win and move on. I think they are going to give it to Will Ospreay. All it takes is 3 seconds. Will Ospreay doesn't even have to use the Hidden Blade. I almost wonder Will Ospreay, who says he has no hesitation whatsoever now to use the Tiger Driver, will there still be a moment of hesitation? If not, from looking at what Kyle Fletcher once was, but to your point, Mark Davis maybe asking him to show mercy. But I'm going with Will Ospreay for the win here.
I don't see a point in continuing this if Ospreay gets the W. You know, whereas Mark Davis, if he turns here and aligns himself with Fletcher, you know, we don't know what happened behind closed doors, but it would be very easy to pull the whole, where were you, Will, when I was out injured?
416 days.
You turned your back on me, so I've turned my back on you.
I get that. I get that.
You know, every now and again you've gotta give the main event player the L in order to elevate the lower person. And I'm not trying to say Kyle Fletcher is low by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not on Ospreay's level either. But a victory over Ospreay will help catapult him. And then you could put Ospreay into the Continental Classic, which helps to rebuild him, since the Continental Classic is essentially their G1 tournament.
Yes.
So you put him in the Continental Classic, and you can help rebuild Ospreay off of those 2 pay-per-view L's, heading into the World's End, heading into Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Dream.
But to also counteract that, it was the G1 where Will Ospreay finally beat Kazuchika Okada for the first time under dubious means. Will Ospreay wins here. Both men are in the Continental Classic respective blocks. This match is picked up again. Kyle Fletcher gets his win back there, and this thing escalates further. Again, I just think right now, Will Ospreay is going to teach Kyle Fletcher a lesson, but Kyle Fletcher is going to try and demonstrate exactly why he is nothing like Will Ospreay through devious desperation. So, again, I like the fact this is polarizing here. And again, another match that's definitely going to deliver and definitely going to surpass their first encounter in AEW back in March. And the majority are actually going with me here, Will Ospreay, 85%, while 40% are going with Kyle Fletcher. So we'll see. But again, several of these matches are definitely going to have, I think, an impact and a cause and effect on who is in what block, and if they're even in the Continental Classic. I almost wonder if they're going to even make the blocks bigger this year, considering, no, it's about the same time, about a month span. So, again, we'll see. And again, love everybody's comments in the chat. Thank you, Andy, Daniel, Lily, DJ Mutt King, everybody involved here, Nathan Phillips. I hope everyone's enjoying the conversation. And again, I hope you all will enjoy our coverage of Full Gear. Take a chance in AEW if you haven't already. Enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. as always, that's all we wish to do and encourage you here across all the brands, all things wrestling. And
I love Walter's comment about pandemic. They're still wrestling in empty arenas.
Really, dude? Really? You had to go there? Talk about some low-hanging fruit, bro. All right. Let's go ahead
Stop
and
him when he's telling lies, though, Noah.
I mean, he's not telling lies, to be fair, except everything outside of pay-per-view. But, it is what it is. Either way, I'm still going to celebrate AEW because I love professional wrestling and I love the quality that they do on pay-per-view particularly. But let's go
that's
ahead.
What we love about you is that you don't care about the stupid shit.
Never have, never will. But I do care about Nina. And I also care about this finally happening.
Yes. Can we make sure we give this more time than we're going to give Mercedes and Stat? Can we make that happen?
I mean, how much bubbly do you expect Mariah May and Nina Shirakawa to drink? I'm just saying. I'm waiting for your plot. Go ahead.
This is going to be the highlight of the night for me.
You and me both. Okay, let's
forget the matches. Forget about Fletcher and Ospreay. Forget about Swerve and Lashley. This is going to be the highlight of the night, baby.
All right, I'm not going to say anything else.
Because I'm not going to lie. There was that interview that was given a couple of days ago where timeless Toni Storm more or less announced her retirement.
King from AEW approved. Continue.
Retirement.
Quote unquote.
Okay, first of all, if anybody out there, and I'm looking at the Mansfields of the world, but if anybody out there read that interview and thought that it was a legit retirement, you can exit the wrestling fandom because you're a fucking idiot.
Damn.
It's an obvious work. I wouldn't be surprised to see Toni make her presence felt here. I don't think it's a coincidence that interview was given just a couple of days before Full Gear.
Yes.
It was Hollywood where everything began for the Timeless One.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, we're not in Hollywood here, we're in Jersey. But it was Full Gear where everything began. And for the next evolution of Toni's gimmick to happen here just makes perfect sense. It may have been the retirement of the Timeless gimmick.
Take a drink each time he says retirement, folks.
But Toni Storm, I think, may be back with a vengeance here. And little side note, I saw the picture of Timeless Toni's figure in the box the other day.
Oh, Lord.
Holy hell. Completely black and white. Even the belt is black and white.
Yes, it is.
I need this action figure in my life, Noah.
Oy vey. Of course you
Don't
do.
oy, baby. It is the greatest marketing thing AEW has ever done. A Timeless Toni figure in complete black and white.
Oh, Lord.
Minus the hair and the lipstick.
Of course.
Everything else.
All right. Well, that being said, while you talk about the absolute excitement and a party crasher, let's bring some context why we're here, shall we? Again, the greatest women's story in wrestling this year and in a long time. The glamour. Mariah May.
The greatest wrestling story that didn't begin 4 years ago. Period.
Accurate.
This year.
Accurate. Thank you. Sorry.
Let's not just cut it off to women's wrestling. Timeless Toni Mariah May is the greatest angle of the past year.
Wow.
Period. Any company.
That's fair. I mean, I watch a lot of wrestling, and as far as, a single year and keeping invested and engaged and always, damn it. I mean, that's fair, and then Nina. All right. So anyway, for those that are wondering, Mariah May, of course, has been running AEW in her own glamorous way since beating timeless Toni Storm in my women's match of the year, still to this point right now, at AEW All In London, in Wembley Stadium. Sealed it with a kiss in the Storm Zero and delivering her happy ever after fairy tale and delivered Toni Storm's eulogy. As we saw backstage on Dynamite, her and Nina, they're here together to celebrate. She is the woman from hell, and as long as she has this, everyone else, you'll die. After overcoming a great trilogy with Anna Jay, including a no disqualification last chance effort by Anna Jay on Collision, there is no one right now that stands right now to oppose Mariah May. The only thing she hasn't done since winning the title is celebrate. And she's been waiting to do it with Mina Shirakawa. Rose gold together forever. Former running mates, sisters in stardom. I'm sure we're naked together. Back in their group, Club Venus. Yes, folks, that is literally a line they said at a press conference. They do things different in Japan. And thanks to Denise Salcedo and the interviews I watched from her, Mariah May has admitted it. Anyway, that being said, we finally have reached the point where it's time to celebrate. But I do wonder if Nina wants to celebrate with Mariah because she wants Mariah, or does Nina want what Mariah has, and does Mariah sense that? Tonight on Rampage, they're actually going to be wrestling for the first time together as a tag team in AEW. And I think the behavior there will give a little bit of foreshadowing towards what to expect tomorrow during this championship celebration. And the last time we saw Nina and Mariah together, and Toni Storm for that matter, Mariah ate a champagne bottle to the head, courtesy of Nina. I know it was, of course, innocent Cassidy, but still. And to your point, JJ, each time they said the graphic, Nina is coming. By the way, great match with Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron is one of the greatest things right now in wrestling. Don't at me. There was a certain QR code that said, "Where is Toni Storm?" And again, we have not seen high nor tail of Toni Storm in AEW atmosphere since she went two-step Charleston in London. But she's been now in Mexico. She's been in Japan. She's been in Australia. She tagged alongside with Nina and challenged Mai Watani for the IWGP Women's Championship. I almost wonder if Mariah even is aware that Nina and Toni were a tag team. And if she's not, if she learns it, is she going to take Nina Shirakawa's head up? Because the most precious thing right now to Mariah may not be Nina. It has to be that AEW Women's World Championship. That championship looks damn good, by the way, with her. So I guess my thing here is, does Timeless Toni Storm actually show up, or do we get a film teasing that Toni is coming? And does Mariah play peacekeeper? And does that lead to the fallout of Rose Gold altogether? I think we are going to get Mariah May versus Nina Shirakawa very soon. But I just don't know when. And I also think about a couple of other things here. Julia Hart is coming home. Mariah May has no challengers. The last time we saw Mariah May, she took out Julia Hart's friend, Sky Blue. Now, truth be told, Sky Blue, I don't know if she's going to be clear to compete. And we are heading back home to Chicago, Thanksgiving Eve. Maybe they run that as a little pre-cycle before getting to Mariah and Toni, or Mariah and Nina. Does Nina stay with Mariah to maybe keep her happy, or maybe keep a closer eye on that championship? I'm just saying. I'm looking very forward to this for a number of reasons, but I do agree that we are going to get a timeless presence in some form during this segment to foreshadow the evolution of whatever's next in this era that's all about Mariah. But I just cannot wait for this segment. I really can't.
I say hold off on Mariah versus Mina until Wrestle Dynasty.
Oh.
When you figure Mina's a Japanese talent and the two established themselves in Japan, save that match for the Tokyo Dome.
I love that.
Now, how do we string things along between here and then that we don't pull the trigger too soon?
Mm-hmm.
That's on Tony Khan to figure out. But the world could end for Mariah at World's End.
But
that could be where the turn happens.
Is it her world ending, or is it her world with Nina ending? Does
It
she
would
go
be
into the
her
new world
world
of her
with
own?
Mina. Like I could see. I think Mariah would pull the Dominic Mysterio and go from heel to further heel
Oh
by
yeah,
attacking Mina here. But I feel like World's End is where everything needs to explode. And then you've got Wrestle Dynasty literally almost a week later.
correct. And of course, folks, we'll be covering Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom from Tokyo Dome, January 4th and January 5th. But you do bring up an interesting thought, though, about this Stardom presence in the Tokyo Dome, considering they are both former Stardom running mates. They are Joshi's at heart, even if one was born in London. Let's not forget, there already is going to be Stardom presence involved, and maybe Mariah suggests that Mina gets involved in this. Or Mina says he's going to get involved in this. Because if Mina wins her four-way, she's at Wrestle Dynasty. And if she wins that match, she can challenge for any title she wants. Just saying.
Yeah.
And we also know Stardom has their end-year show ahead of World's End, Dream Kingdom. We have no idea if Mina is going to be involved there. So there's still a number of don't know where, but can see this. And I love that for the fact they have that for this women's championship as an advocate of women's wrestling. Again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. This year, the AEW women's division finally feels like it has some meat to it. I know I said meat because it's a guy thing, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I
All right.
totally get you. And the whole women's wrestling thing is why I'm looking so forward to Ladies Night Out. They've
Yes.
already announced 10 matches, and there's still a bunch of women that haven't been announced in matches yet that have been announced to be part of the show. This is going to be a Tony Khan style of card.
I'm for that.
And it's all women's wrestling.
Support women in wrestling, damn it. That's all I got to say. And also, yay, Mina. Okay. I'm very happy about this segment. I can't wait for this.
Very
all
nice,
right.
Very evil.
Well, very glamorous. How can something so beautiful be so sinister? Exhibit A, Mariah May. Just saying. And I love it. Okay. Well, that being said, I feel someone's going to get emotionally hurt, and that's always been the backbone of Stardom, but straight up, JJ, someone's getting fucking hurt in this. Swerve Strickland's going one-on-one for the first time ever. Folks, that is not a Photoshop. If you haven't been watching AEW, yep, Hurt Syndicate is officially live in All Elite Wrestling, and you are looking at making his pay-per-view debut in AEW, the almighty Bobby Lashley. What the fuck is 2024, JJ? I don't know what is going on in the wrestling world, and I'm not questioning it because I love it. This is going to be fucking amazing and painful. Okay, so bottom line, folks, the Hurt Syndicate was born when MVP decided to show up on AEW during the 5-year anniversary. And he said he's ready to talk business with one Swerve Strickland after confronting Prince Nana, who says that chugging and jiving, dancing, and selling coffee when, again, you should be more serious, and Swerve can be more of a serious player. When Swerve finally came back, though, he said that MVP was right on a lot of points, but Prince Nana is family, and he's not going to turn his back on family, so he can take that business card and shove it up with the sun don't sign. Why MVP and Shelton Benjamin says that you don't exist without us. You're on borrowed time. I saw that clinic, of course, with Shelton Benjamin and Swerve Strickland live at Friday Night Dynamite, which led to a call to bring forward the almighty Bobby Lashley into All Elite Wrestling. And every time the Hurt Syndicate been on TV, Swerve Strickland has been obliterated by the numbers game. Till this past Wednesday, when he got one-upsmanship and outsmarted the Hurt Syndicate for a moment, cracking Bobby Lashley in the back with a steel chain-loaded fist and taking him down with a swerve stomp. And then casually walking him through the audience as MVP and Shelton Benjamin were furious. Bottom line, though, it's Bobby Lashley's pay-per-view debut. You got to set a standard here in so many ways. And Swerve Strickland last year set a standard when he created his spot, wanting him in an advantageous spot. And again, the most damnedest violent match at that point we see in AEW history, that Texas Death Match. This is a pure one-on-one contest, pure in quotations. MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Prince Nana are not going to be far away from this, but I also wonder, with the fact that MVP has been scouting so many people, that young, hungry, coachable fourth for the Hurt Syndicate, will someone like Max Caster or Leo Rush or Darius Martin, somebody else come and finally be aligned with the Hurt Syndicate. I think we're going to get further development in business. But I also think Bobby Lashley is going to hurt Swerve Strickland. But then again, can you hurt Swerve? Because Swerve's a guy that's, how do I put it politely? Fucking crazy. Get your thoughts on this first little one-on-one experience. What's going to happen here with the Hurt Syndicate and the most dangerous man in AEW?
Swerve has had a dominant year. I feel like you've got to give Bobby his first pay-per-view victory. It just, like Walter says here, would be stupid for him to lose his second AEW match and his first one on pay-per-view.
Yep. Yeah, whose house?
Run's house. I always answer that, Pop.
I know you do.
But it's... I don't... I feel like, and again, I haven't watched the last few weeks, so if I've missed something, I've missed it. But I feel like Swerve should have gone through Shelton to get to Lashley. And maybe he did and I missed it. But
he literally beat Shelton Benjamin at Fright Night Dynamite, and that's when
true,
Bobby Lashley
true.
came in and wiped them out. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was on the call for that. That just,
you were.
I think that was the last time I watched AEW.
Well, again, you're busy. Prayers over passions. God bless you. Continue. That's why I'm catching you up.
But you've got to give Lashley the victory here. That's just the end of story. It's any other outcome is dumb.
Yep. Just a matter of, again, how much does it take to put down Swerve Strickland? I'm just saying.
That's fair.
I mean, he has been incapacitated with the Hurt Lock before, but you almost wonder if Swerve has a game plan for that. And again, MVP, he's always a thinking man. Everyone knows that. So, I mean, again, we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to this first ever one-on-one affair and seeing what Bobby Lashley can do on pay-per-view. And King with that unique stat about him having a singles match on pay-per-view since 2022, I think. Jesus. When he was United States champion. Remember that almighty run? It's crazy to think about. By the way, majority are going with Bobby Lashley, 85%. There are still some people in Swerve's house, apparently, though, that think Swerve can get the 3 seconds. I don't think so. I think Swerve gets hurt. Simple as that. Okay. Well, we had a lot of fun, a lot of discussion, a lot of humor, a lot of fantasy booking, a lot of marketing conversation. We talked a lot. Again, I hope everyone's enjoyed the conversation. I hope everyone's getting your picks in. Again, if you love what we do here, please support my friends, Simple Studios, PayPal, demonstrate again while we bring this passion forward to you. Let's go ahead and get right into our main event. For some, it's whatever. For others, it's Orange Cassidy's last stand. For others beyond that, it's Jon Moxley, who literally make an example of exactly what it means to challenge him in this position, with the problem being the possessor and the Death Riders ruling everything. It's Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy once again, one-on-one in the Full Gear pay-per-view, this time in the main event. Last year was for the International Championship. Orange Cassidy came in as champion, Jon Moxley as challenger. Jon Moxley comes in as champion this year in the main event. 4-time AEW World Champion against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, who's demonstrated one thing and one thing only: defiance. After these last few weeks of eliminating distractions, including Chuck Taylor, that forced Orange Cassidy to step up and say that he will fight on behalf of AEW because he doesn't want to see any more of his friends hurt, and he will do this alone. After being embarrassed and literally taped in his pockets by Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, but again, he did not waver his will, even though he was left pretty much as a broken man. Though he did beat with a unit and a clutch match this past week on Dynamite. It's basically Orange Cassidy looking to defend what AEW has been, while Jon Moxley is looking to kill what AEW has been. Straight up. I mean, if Orange Cassidy wins this, then I know there's something in the ether that's affecting the world worse than the election. I think Jon Moxley has to win. It's just a matter of how brutal, bad of an example he's going to use Orange Cassidy in that win. Because right now, Jon Moxley, he's basically resetting the AEW landscape. He's forcing AEW to reset because as long as he has the title, he has the power. You hold the gold, you hold the power. You know that by fact. I don't see Jon Moxley losing. I just see this being a very brutal one-on-one encounter, and maybe Orange Cassidy will show us far more than what he has in the past. And again, Orange Cassidy, we've seen this subtle character change, darker. He seemed like he didn't really care, but he does subtly care. But he doesn't want anyone else involved, and now everybody's involved. But I'm pretty sure he's going to take the Death Riders on 5-on-1 and still get obliterated. Bottom line, I don't think after this we see Orange Cassidy for a long time. And maybe that's the point. As far as what's next, insert name here to be the next guy Jon Moxley beats to death. Yeah, anything you want to add regarding this?
Put up Walter's comment because I echo that sentiment 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing against Orange Cassidy. I've got nothing against Jon Moxley. But they have not built this match to where I give a shit about it. There's no way Orange Cassidy is going to win this. None. I take that back. The only way he wins it is via disqualification. Is if Mox puts enough of a beatdown on him that he gets disqualified or the match has to stop. Orange Cassidy isn't going to get this victory here. And while I could potentially see Orange Cassidy as the AEW champion in the future, Orange Cassidy should have been essentially the final boss to go up against Moxley if that was going to be the guy to dethrone him. What up, Kane?
What up, bruv?
Throwing him in there as, the pawn, the first to fall,
the sacrificial lamb,
makes zero sense if he's going to be the one to ultimately dethrone him.
Maybe he's not meant to be.
Maybe not, but then you got to look at the landscape and who is. Who's the guy that's going to step up and dethrone Jon Moxley? Bryan Danielson's retired.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Nobody stays retired in pro wrestling forever.
Yeah,
that's
true.
I'd like to believe that with Bryan, it's going to be legit.
I think Bryan's a man of integrity. I got one more name in mind, and this is another name that probably has more history with Jon Moxley, if nothing else, maybe as similar versus as nothing as him. Darby Allin.
I was getting there. I was going to run through some of the other people.
Go ahead.
Sting is retired.
Sting.
The point I'm trying to make is that all of your top caliber championship material is gone or has been booked into such an oblivion that they're not believable as the person that could upset Moxley. I'm not his biggest fan, but the way they've been booking Hangman as of late doesn't lead me to believe that he could do it. Jericho's a joke.
Hi, guys.
Punk is gone. Omega, possibly. Once he comes back. Darby should have been the champion to begin with. He completely got screwed and his opportunity taken from him. Then you've got the fact that whoever is the person to dethrone Mox, do they even make it out of the event because Christian has got his cash-in opportunity? Darby Allin finally does it. He takes the championship from Jon Moxley. And here comes Christian to cash in his title opportunity and takes it right off of Darby Allin.
He does still have that contract.
And is Christian going to be any better than Moxley? Or is it going to pretty much be the same? You know, Swerve, MJF, even Joe, they were all champions way too recently. I'm not ready for them to have a second title run yet.
Joe will be coming back once he's done with his Twisted Metal filming, and I'm pretty sure he has not forgotten about Chris Jericho driving him through a wall on a forklift, probably.
Giving new meaning to the phrase break the walls down.
Right?
They don't have any serious viable contenders, which is why I come back to the Omega thing, because if the elites are supposed to be the baby faces to lead the charge against these invaders, these Death Riders, Omega is the best option to face and dethrone Moxley.
He's coming back January 5th, Wrestle Dynasty, to take on Gabe Kidd, so...
Come Revolution, maybe. And, you know, if I'm Tony Khan, and this is something I'm looking for as potentially my main event, I'm calling up and seeing if I can have the Beatles' Revolution as my theme song.
You crazy.
Just saying.
I mean, again, he's not wrong. I mean, again, that November
Rain video. You want a revolution. We all want to change the world.
And that's what Omega wanted to do in the first place. Ooh,
that was the original mission statement, was changing the world when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
And Moxley is pushing for the hard reboot.
A totally different paradigm shift.
Saying that AEW hasn't established anything in 5 years as far as an identity goes. He wants to change the world. He wants to help establish something. So Omega Mox kind of makes sense.
Especially, yeah. I mean, the last time we saw Omega and Moxley, it was Omega that took the title for John Mox with dubious means. That winner is coming. So winner is coming. So that'd be an interesting way to try and tease that, considering that was 4 years ago. Of course, we'll cover that next month. But yeah, it's just one of those things right now where I also look at the fact that he has not shown the AEW World Championship since winning it, putting it in a duffel bag and locking it in a briefcase, literally cuffed to Marina Shafir's wrist, now the possessor. He is in hold of the position versus the possession. I'm very curious to see if he even brings out the championship from the briefcase. I feel like for some reason this is not going to just be a standard championship match, if you get what I mean, because I don't think John Moxley has even been in action since Wrestle Dream. So I don't know what to expect from this besides John Moxley still holding the position. But at the end of the day, this is about the position of AEW. To your point, not just the World Championship, but literally the foundation, the landscape, the ecosystem. And John Moxley is literally trying to recreate it from scratch. So I think, honestly, it's just a matter of how do you end Full Gear? Should this be the ending because you have a big angle afterwards? And if so, what does that angle involve? Or should John Moxley just take possession of the show, do this in the beginning or the middle, and then be like, okay, this is the statement. Find somebody else. Dare them to step up to me. Die in the valley like Orange Cassidy. Abandon all hope. Bye, see ya. And then a matter of when he actually shows up to defend the position next time. We know the Death Riders are constantly going to be a weekly presence in their MO. We don't know when John Moxley is going to wrestle again concerning the gold. So,
and we also don't know who is pulling the strings. Who's the puppet master?
What's the greater purpose here? Remember, greater purpose. It's just business.
What's the higher power?
Yeah, I know you've talked about that too, but he's never necessarily indicated, I think, particular person per se that he answers to. A person. I said cause. I don't know if it's a person.
he did say in that first promo, this is not your company anymore.
Right.
Now, while that could just allude to the fact that the Death Riders are taking over, it could also allude to the fact that there's somebody else that is now a majority investor, stockholder, or owner of the company. And Tony Khan doesn't have full control anymore. Let's not forget, and I know that AEW doesn't want to be WWE here, but roll with me for a moment.
All righty.
The Raw after Survivor Series 2001. We got the debut of a limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, woo, son of a gun.
The consortium.
Who was the consortium.
What a unique word, by the way.
That bought Stephanie and Shane out to now be co-owners alongside Vince. Shane, if that's the end game,
if ...
if I'm giving the if,
I know.
If that's the end game, could be the whole be all end all here. And I just think it makes sense. We've discussed this before. You know, if that's going to be what happens here, we need something to further that. And I remember I pitched the last time the Death Riders approaching a man at a desk, and all we see is the back of his chair, the Death Riders facing the camera, talking to a mystery man. That would be the perfect way to further this angle, because then we know that in fact they are reporting to someone. It's just a matter of who is it, because we don't get to see it.
Yep, to be continued. But again, how do you escalate it following Saturday night? I think that's ultimately the end question. And does Darby Allin even show up to Claudio Castagnoli literally obliterated the man in one of his strongest showings ever this past Wednesday on Dynamite, throwing the man from a overhead military press on top of the announce table through the timekeepers area while Darby's broken cadaver carcass still caught on the ring. And then he got clothesline from Switzerland for Claudio to finally beat Darby Allin in the middle of the ring. And that should sent painfully. It's also one of those things where Orange Cassidy said, and I quote, I know I'm going into this 5-on-1. We know John Moxley is going to have the Death Rider show up at some point. If nothing else, Richard Ferrer is going to be in the corner. Orange Cassidy is willing to die on his own. So it's like, again, I don't know necessarily what to expect from this during it, and I damn sure don't know what to expect from it afterwards. But I guess we'll see soon enough. But yeah, I think in context, this is literally the proverbial, it's not about the result, it's about the story. And the majority are going with John Moxley retaining, but it looks like 6 people are freshly squeezed. They are going with Orange Cassidy. And again, that will be the upset of the year if that happens. And I really won't know what the fuck's happening in AEW.
And to Walter's comment from earlier, the only way I would buy Orange Cassidy winning is if Christian comes and cashes in his contract. Yeah. I just don't buy Orange Cassidy at this moment. He still needs to evolve his character more for me to buy him as the face of the company.
Yeah, and as long as Christian Cage has that contract, we know no AEW Babyface Original is holding that World Championship right now. So, because, I mean, Christian Cage, proverbially the best worker in AEW, brought from a WWE, honestly. He's got that year-long till August, by the way, Texas opportunity to challenge for the AEW World Championship. So again, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. All right. Well, that being said, again, folks, what are your expectations for this Saturday Full Gear? Who gets hurt? Who shows up? Who gets betrayed? What emotions get pulled? What surprises do you see? Do you see upsets? Do you see title changes? What do you hope to see? Maybe be a participant in the Continental Classic, because again, that is going to follow this. Do we get maybe a new signing, another debut? Does somebody else show up? Let us know your thoughts in the comments now or in the comments down below. And thank you for tuning in. Be sure to get your predictions in. Again, the forum will be in the comment section on each of these videos, comment sections. And I thank all of you once again. We'll see you tomorrow when we, of course, cover Full Gear before we head into the Saturday shenanigans. JJ, it's been a pleasure. Great timing, too. Shorter than a Monday Night Raw. How about that crazy stuff? It's been a while since it's been simple and reliable here at City Predicting. I really enjoyed it. But besides the fact that, again, we're right back here tomorrow, any last words, thoughts, or anything you want to plug and promote?
Just follow me on the social medias. You can find me at the Renegade JJ Williams on Instagram, ROWJJ Williams on Twitter and Blue Sky, Casa D18 Studios on YouTube. Make sure you tune in for the Saturday shenanigans, of course, tomorrow, as Noah pointed out, following our coverage of Full Gear. And just be on the lookout for when I do a live for the love of wrestling, because my work schedule has been so crazy that I haven't been able to fully commit to it. So priorities over passions, as Noah says. If I can't give anything more than WWE the coverage, then I don't do it, because I don't want it to seem like I'm just being favorites to one brand.
That's fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair and respectful. That's going to give it to you. As you say on Blue Sky. And again, it's been simple. It's been reliable. And it's been very fun here. And Walter came in for the closing for some reason. So, hi, Walter. What's up?
Yes. Say goodnight, Walter.
Don't bring me in. I wanted to talk to you privately after. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, since he's here, let's go ahead and give one more shill in for the GCW Bloodsport event that'll be on Sunday with Walter and James on the call for that.
Hey.
Make sure you guys tune in to that. When professional wrestling meets mixed martial arts.
Exactly. And again, the worlds of wrestling blend so well together. It's just one of those things right now where, again, there's never been a greater opportunistic time to be a professional wrestling fan for any company or any brand. And thank you all for tuning in. Again, folks, I do this. I cover, I engage, I look at all the positive things across all things wrestling. Shout out to AEW fam. For I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan professional wrestling, damn it! And only wish to continue and encourage, remind you there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans of opinions of this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that.
Absolutely. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, but there's so much professional wrestling to enjoy over the next week or so. You know, again, we say it periodically, but if you can't find something to enjoy, leave the fandom. We've got Full Gear coverage tomorrow. We've got GCW Bloodsport on Sunday. We've got Thanksgiving Eve Dynamite on Wednesday. Turning Point on Friday. We've got the WrestleCade Super Show on Saturday. Survivor Series War Games on Saturday. And then we've got Ladies Night Out 14 on Sunday. And then we have a little bit of a break until deadline from NXT.
Damn right. And speaking of which, of course, the predictions.
No sleep for us.
What is sleep? I still
and there's a karaoke in there too somewhere.
Anyway, again, City Predictings will be back here. TNA Turning Point, WWE Survivor Series, War Games, NXT Deadline, and Ring of Honor Final Battle, as all the leagues are about to conclude. So, again, folks, you've been predicting all this year, you better make or break, because some of these leagues literally have one show left, if not their last show. WPLE League officially ends Survivor Series War Games, just saying. So, again, good luck to everybody here. Good luck to all of you. And again, as I was finishing out, and I love what JJ interjected there too, literally summing up the next week, quite simply put. Again, this is our live enjoyment of wrestling. Truly simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't have a comment, tell a friend. Follow me if you choose on the Twitter, on YouTube, and Foss916 for all things wrestling. And again, we'll see you tomorrow. So in typical UK Game Show fashion, I'm going to close as we usually do. For Walter Cruz, who decided to stop in because I put him on screen. Hey, Walter! Walter! Say goodbye.
Adios.
There we go. For the Renegade Wrestling, JJ Williams, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. And for me, it's also goodbye, too. So again, we'll see you tomorrow night for our coverage of AEW Full Gear. But until then, make a positive impact in life and have a good night. And thank you for enjoying the discussion. And let's all head into Full Gear with a positive mindset. Have a good night, folks.
Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fat.
I'm gonna try and
So
actually
am I.
gain weight. I'm gonna actually try and gain weight next week for Thanksgiving. I know it's really something to think about. Me gaining weight.
I'll give you some of mine.
Same.
Look, I don't have a hollow leg, all right? I actually eat super good twice a year, but despite what people think, all right? I literally do eat at least once a day, all right? Well, mostly once a day. But anyway, I had a great ham sandwich earlier today. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Yep. And believe in Joe Hendry, as always. He should have been a champion. Damn it. Oh, wait.
His name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Couldn't help it.